You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good, and you found good in abundance today with our amazing guest, Jacqui Campbell, but we'll be introducing her in a few minutes. It's just going to help you so much. And that's actually the reason you tuned in. You tuned in consciously and conscientiously to the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's great, by the way, because when you care the most about you, you're here to make the world a better place. Because when you become the best you build more bridges of harmony, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. And you will be better for it. You'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Because you know that in this show, we deal with the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals are, number one, life, your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, a good number two, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a great acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Everyday words and terms. So right now, this amazing show, this podcast is being carried worldwide through the internet, that magical, mystical, mysterious platform. And if you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, this has to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? W-H-A-T-A. Whenever you hear the opening bars of that amazing song that Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, enabled to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet, what do you do when you hear what a wonderful world? You start smiling right away. You can't help it. The smile on your face. Now, smile is one of the most important words you get to integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, because SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I must tell you, right now I'm speaking, thank God, again, to real people, no mask, I'm hugging, and it's good to be in the world again. And I tell people about seeing miracles in life every day. People raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been here for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I ask them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water, drink, food to eat, a place, sleep, family, friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the proof? The simplest proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching this or listening to this, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, live life exuberantly. Now, I got to tell you a little story. Imagine the following: standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap 12 buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. That was me. And it was not from an automobile accident or a spinal injury. A rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me what's called a quadriplegic. Nothing on my body moved, my neck down. Completely, totally paralyzed. Overnight, all I could do is communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in hospital, 4 years I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of this one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile Smile? I thought about it. Smile, smile, sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world that she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel, because it's the way you think that makes a difference in life. It's called neuro-linguistic programming on the fancy term, but really it's about shifting perspective. And you got to be careful with shift. You got to make, most of the people I talk with, I speak with thousands of people every year. Somehow they don't pronounce the F, they drop it, and the other stuff happens. You got to shift your perspective. And when you do that, you'll utilize the 6 most important words you'll ever learn and leverage in your life. And they are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Now, I got to warn you in advance. I have to warn Jacqui, our wonderful guest, because she's so beautiful and wonderful. And I have to tell her in advance. I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it because of the shock value and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, pray, play, swim, mind. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. FU, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and your friends, and you point your finger and tell everybody, F you, remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you get that? We said, well, I'm listening to The Joy of Living with Barry Shore, and he wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. Now, people say right away, hey, Barry Shore, fun is only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, before we bring on wonderful, amazing Jacqui, I'm going to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life, because they'll make a difference and it will help you, help your family, help your friends, and all living beings. And these 2 words are, of course, thank you, thank you, thank you. To use these 2 words consciously and conscientiously. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, and I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And it's always possible, he says. So imagine you go into your coffee shop and you order your fancy latte and you sit down, somebody brings it to you. You say, thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, you sit down a few minutes, nobody brings it. You go to the counter, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, we're busy. We'll bring it to you. You sit down, a couple of minutes go by, somebody brings it, you still say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out, somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining, and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. KIND is a wonderful acronym that stands for Keep Inspiring Noble Deeds. I can't think of anybody that I want to share with you that inspires noble deeds more than wonderful, fabulous, amazing Jacqui Campbell. Jacqui, please say hello to 362,822 people around the world.
Hello, everybody. Wow. Thank you.
Boy, did you hear that? Wow, is she not wonderful? And by the way, that's not a put-on accent. That's a real accent from Britain. She lives in the UK. Wow, by the way, Jacqui, is a great acronym that stands for words of wonder or words of wisdom. And that's what you do. You're a wow. By the way, I want to urge everybody, don't take notes. You're going to learn a lot of stuff today. Don't take notes. Just put your pen down, lean in and listen. Let the transformation happen, because everything about Jacqui is going to be at my website, barryshore.com. Hello, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com. Everything about Jacqui and what she does. And what she does is quite amazing. So just listen. Use the listening process for the transformational information you're about to receive, because it's absolutely wonderful. We are going to be discussing today one of the most powerful, difficult, emotional issues that exist on our planet. And it's, according to Jacqui, we'll term it, because she made the term, youth mental health. Now, everybody knows that I'm a mental health activist because of my situation, and I'm able to help people because I've been through stuff. When you're paralyzed for years, people say, okay, you may know something. Okay, I do know some things, and I try to share. Wonderful Jacqui has created a phenomenon that's touching people around the world, that's specifically relating to youth mental health and this word, we need to say it out loud, suicide. So I'm just going to be quiet and ask wonderful, beautiful Jacqui Campbell to please talk to us, share with us about youth mental health and what we can do to make it strong and healthy, and therefore not involved with suicide.
Thank you, Barry. Thanks. It took the suicide of my brother Julian for me to start seeing things from a completely different perspective. And at the time of his death, I was a teacher in a secondary school. So I was, I was a consultant. I used to love going into difficult schools and failing schools and turn around the results. It was just something that excited me, and I appeared to be quite good at it because I got the results. And then when my brother took his own life, that just changed everything for me. I saw everything through different eyes. I saw the stress and the anxiety and the depression that our young people had. And, I saw the stress that we as teachers put them under because we want them to achieve. The stress that parents, and their high expectations inadvertently put their children under as well. I saw lots of things through completely new eyes. And then looking at the research as well, I started reading up. So, to understand that 80% of adult mental health illnesses are already seen by the time a young person's 18 years old. So if 80% of them are already seen by the time a young person's 18 years old, there's a lot more that we can be doing in that platform from childhood to adulthood to support that young person, to help them manage their mental health and well-being, which is like emotional intelligence. So with my brother, even though he was 40 when he died and he had bipolar disorder, and then in my time of reflection, and it took a couple of years, I went back each decade to when we were teenagers and saw that if he'd have had intervention when he was in his teenage years, anything from between 13 to 18 years old, that he would not only still be alive, he'd be the best version of himself if he had somebody to support him. And that's how I started. I started looking at what would make a difference to my brother to change his life round. And I thought, as a teacher, it's all about achievement. And I loved it. I was achievement machine. It's all about, you've got, you're going to leave school, you're going to have all of these wonderful results, and this is like your passport. And then I started seeing that you can have all the qualifications and all the achievement in the world. And if you don't have your mental health, and if you haven't got that emotional intelligence, it doesn't really serve you that much. So that's when I started changing and looking at the first intervention that we did was mood mentoring. So as a school
Good.
teacher,
Let me pause there for a moment, because
yeah.
you've given us so much,
Oh,
and I want
sorry.
to unpack just a couple of pieces. As we said, we work with acronyms a lot because they allow people to remember things. So, unfortunately, the acronym we use for SAD, you already spoke about. It's called stress, anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
And that is a very heady cocktail. Stress alone oftentimes causes difficulties, but when you add in anxiety and then move into depression, it's so difficult to break out. Now, health, we'll use as an acronym, stands for helping everyone achieve life through happiness. That's what you do.
Yeah.
In other words,
Wow.
I don't just believe that you were a great teacher. I know it. She goes, because you are, like you said, you're an achievement machine. And yet you understood at some point it wasn't the academics were less important than the mental process, not the mental acuity, the mental processing of asking the questions, who am I? Why am I here? And now what do I do?
Yeah.
So I'd like to go a little bit very deep. I want to talk about stress because you mentioned it, you brought it up, and it's again the first letter in the sad process. And then I'll tell you how we work with stress and how we define it. But I want to hear from you. What is it that you, as a teacher, an achievement machine teacher, and your colleagues, and now with the foundation, how do you intervene with parents and with teenagers to not just reduce the stress, but to learn how to mitigate it and use it to advantage? Because I think that's really the great secret. You can use stress to advantage. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I mean, stress is a high energy and low mood, a mixture of the two of them. And what we teach our children, or what we show our children through mentoring, through drama workshops, through dance workshops, is that moods can be changed. It's not fixed. A young person, they came to me and said, well, my doctor says that I've got stress. And like it's fixed, and that there's nothing that they can do to change it. And then we invite them to look at what it is in their lives that could be bringing on that stress, and we show them how to manage their stress and how to reduce it. So for example, it might be just a small thing, but so if they've got high energy and they're low mood and they're stressed, then what kind of things can they be doing to reduce that energy and change that low mood to a high mood? So we look at things like, exercise, for example, going, walking, running, playing games, that will bring down the energy and bring down that stress. Or talking with a friend, drawing, doing something that makes you feel really great, that can get the negative and push it over to the positive, so you're in a more positive mood. So young children are doing these kind of things already. Some of them, they come to us, they're already doing drawing, they're already doing speaking with, they've got a close friend, but they don't realize the impact. They don't realize that if they are stressed, that there's two or three things that they can do immediately, and it will impact it and it will change it. So that's how we work, by showing them that if you're stressed, it's not something that's fixed. It can be changed. It depends what you do, and how you do it, and how quickly you do it.
This is so enlivening, and I use that word purposely because, again, what we're up against is such sadness that people will take their own lives. And we're going to talk about that in depth. But what you're talking now is this, what we call shifting perspective, and especially for kids. And when I say the word shift, and I say you got to be careful with your F's, you got to make sure you pronounce the F and shift right, because the other stuff happens. And that happens with most people because they get into a mindset that is really, as you would say, a set mind. In other words, you walk around with a label. I am and that's the label, and that's that set mind. What you want to do is shift their perspective to say, wait a minute, it's your mindset. You're the one who determines how you want to view the world. If you want to do it in a positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant manner, we're going to show you how you can do that. Like you said, exercise, workshops, drama, in my humble opinion, or actually I think comedy is, but there's part of the same world. But the idea of acting, especially for young people, 13 to 18, even up to 25, is so powerful because it enables them to go into a role and shift into an idea and then shift out again, make say, wait a minute, if I can do it in enacting with lines, I can do it for me. So they understand, they become more flexible. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Yes. More flexible, more able to control and manage their moods. And that is the beginning of emotional intelligence, to know how to manage yourself and manage your moods, and
By the way, I
knowing,
just want to share with you quickly, the
yeah,
word mood is very interesting, right? MOOD. What is it read backwards? Read it backwards.
doom.
Well, that's what moods are, right? If, oh, I'm in a mood. Well, that's really doom. And if you learn that you are in control of your mood, you don't have to go to doom. You can
That's
be
true.
filled with joy, happiness, peace, and love. You like that?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Youth mental health. So let's continue some of the processes that you work with and show people how to manage and be flexible and again use the mood to advantage. So you don't go to doom and gloom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
She's
exactly
enjoying Jacqui's enjoying this. This wonderful.
that. Thank you.
See, she just said thank you, the two most powerful words in the English language. So tell us more about what it is that we can do to channel these very powerful emotions. Everybody's been through 13 to 18. Most of our listeners are under the age of 80%, 85% under the age of 34. So everybody's been through teenage years.
Mhm,
We call it angst in English, ANGST. What a great word, angst.
mhm,
Everybody has it. What wonderful Jacqui is doing, and again, spurred on by the suicide of her brother, her beloved brother, I'm taking it, uh, helped her now to touch so many people around the world with the foundations. So let's hear some specific situations that you use in teaching methods that helps people who are in a difficult place.
one of the most important tools we use is something called a mood map. And the mood map, I wish I could show it to you actually. You can see it's a map of the moods.
By the way, Jacqui is going to show you a mood map when you go to my site, barryshore.com, because everything about Jacqui will be there and the mood map will be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
mood map is like the map of the world or somebody's being.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's got the high energy moods at the top and then the lower energy moods at the bottom. And we show it to the young person and we say, well, where are you today? And they might be stressed, for example. So that will be high mood, low energy. And then usually by speaking with them and listening, that's the main thing. Listening, we can find out what's behind it, what's behind all of the stress. And I found that as a teacher, it's difficult for parents because parents are doing a lot. They're working, they're supporting the family. The conversations they have with their children are going to be different, maybe getting them out of bed, getting them into school, encourage them to revise and do their homework, to eat. And because there's just so much to do. And what we have, our mentors show up for 1 hour a week for each young person and they listen. And they sit there and they listen for what it is a young person's dealing with, starting with the mood map. So the young person can say, well, yeah, I'm anxious, or I feel down, I feel sad. And then more importantly, get to the bottom or get what's at the source of all of that. And then listen. And that's really important because I assert that a lot of our young children, they don't have the space where they can be. And a lot of us want to fix them, or it's okay, everything's going to be okay. And sometimes it's just really important for the young person to be heard.
Again, so much to unpack and just share with people. The mood map is so interesting, and I'm glad those of you who are listening, as opposed to watching, but you'll all be able to access the mood map by going to my website, barryshore.com. As I want to make mention of something here, I was blessed when I was 13 to 18 going through stuff, human, right? Angst and all the things. We didn't have a mood map, but I had a really good relationship with a teacher. Her name was Mrs. Levi, actually, interesting enough. But I remember she said to me one time when we were sitting, we were discussing literature, and she said, I want you to look at me as if I'm a giant ear. I laughed, just like you are, right? She said, yeah. I looked at my eyes, must have been bulging. I said, yeah, think of me right now. It's just, I'm a giant ear, and I'm only here for one thing, and that is to listen to you. It took a few sessions, but I began to open up because it's not easy sometimes to get to the root causes. And as an ear, she just listened. So I was speaking not to a wall, but to an ear. And again, sort of the last 5 minutes and the last 10 minutes and the last 15 minutes after with a good trust bond built up, she was able to share with me. I asked her, well, what do you think? And she was able to give me input and feedback. And she taught me the following, which I've carried with me, by the way, for almost 60 years. You hear this? Almost 60 years. She said, here's what LISTEN stands for. She was an English teacher. LISTEN stands for locating insightful, sustainable, transformative energy now.
Wow.
I,
Wow.
That's from a teacher from 60 years ago. So I'm here to say, as an adult, having gone through stuff like you're mentioning, that yes, even though you might not see the results immediately, what happens when you interact with kids 12 to 18, as you're saying, 13 to 18, and even older, is that once the listening process begins, the magic happens.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
the magic. Because you're right, parents they're different, and they have to be. They have so many stresses in their lives, and then most of the time, by the way, they never learned how to have a mood map. Wouldn't it be great if the kid came home and said, Mom, Dad, I want to, not both of you at one time, just one, no one. Let's take a look at your mood map. Where are you? I don't know if you do that. I don't know if you ask the kids to go home and share with parents the mood map.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, well, we're actually supporting parents as well because it's difficult.
Especially in today's world.
Yeah.
It's not getting, how should we call it? It's not, forget the word easy. The pressures of the pace of the world are such that it's very difficult unless one has skill set like you're teaching. I mean, one of the reasons I love Jacqui and asked her to be on is because she is sharing with us skill sets that help every human being on the planet. And that's why I'm saying right now, we have hundreds of thousands of people listening, and we're blessed that you're listening. And we ask you to share this with 5 people. I didn't say 50 or 100 or 1,000, 5 people. That way we'll touch over 1.5 million people. Because these skill sets are useful every single day for every human being. Am I correct on that, Jacqui?
Yeah. Yeah. It really, yeah, you're right. I mean, we've found as well that boys take longer to open up than girls. But however, when boys open up, they really do open up with themselves, and what they're dealing with. And when we do our drama workshops, which is different from the mentoring because the mentoring is one-on-one, and the drama workshops we work with up to 300 young people at a time, and then we go into breakout rooms of about 20 or 30, and then we look at certain problems or certain situations, how to manage yourself with social media, body image, topics that are really important for young people today and what they're dealing with. And then they find out through those that whatever it is that they're thinking about their body, or, they're self-conscious about their body, or, how to manage themselves on social media, they find out that they're not the only one that thinks that way. And that's the really important thing, because when a young person doesn't open themselves up, when they don't do that, then they think they're the only one, and they think that there's something wrong. And
this is fabulous. Fabulous in a very shake-up way. Now, we have wonderful sponsors who just love the show. And so we're going to do a break right now, just a couple of minutes. We'll come back because Jacqui, she really makes a difference. She's a mad woman. She makes a difference in the world. So we'll be back right after this brief message. Don't go away. There's more Jacqui Campbell, and there's solutions to stress and suicide. That's the good news. We'll be right back after this brief message. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. And it's a person. Her name is Jacqui Campbell. She is headquartered in London, but she beams to the whole world because she is addressing youth mental health. She's making a difference. We call her the Mad Woman of London, making a difference for not just youth, by the way. Anybody can feel young. I don't care if you're 63, 73, 83, 103. It's a mental state. And that's what she deals with, youth mental health, to avoid the epidemic of suicide, teen suicide. We need to talk about it. It's a subject that just must be spoken about. It's a dark subject, but you're going to shed light on it because we're here to make sure that another teen doesn't go that route. There is not only hope, there is help, there is health, and it works. So talk to us first of all about the epidemic of mental difficulties and teen suicide.
Yeah, well, before the pandemic, we were already in a mental health epidemic. And by that, I mean that here in the UK, it's just been really difficult, or it was really difficult for young people to get help. So in school, they get access to mental health services, but then there's a waiting list. Some of them wait 7 months, some of them wait up to 2 or 3 years to get the help, so these are the talking therapies. And then when they get the help, quite often it's not the kind of help that would make a difference to what's wanted and needed. So that was going on before the lockdown. So when the pandemic happened, then we couldn't see how bad things were, first of all. I'm not quite sure what was going on in the USA, but for us, it was a time of our biggest growth. Many other charities, they were closed. People were on furlough. They weren't working. They weren't allowed to work. And we were able to work. And that's when we started having volunteers from all over the world helping us and supporting us and being trained up to support young people with their mental health. And then young people and parents started coming to us more, and that's how it all happened. So, so our mentors.
This is amazing. You just said to me and to hundreds of thousands of people that in some strange fashion, the pandemic and the lockdown was a benefit.
Yeah, only for
us. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. He said, I need your help, everybody.
Yeah, we could help everybody. And, and people were contacting us, schools, head teachers asking for advice. They wanted us to come and talk. We did drama workshops, Barry, and I couldn't believe it because for me, drama workshops are up close and personal. It's face to face. But then, of course, with social distancing and the pandemic, we were not allowed to go into the schools. So we did it all on Zoom. And I was shocked. I never thought that would be possible. We tried it with Billiana, actually. We tried with a little group of young people, and they were saying, oh, it was great. And I thought, well, if they're saying it's great and I'm not thinking it's not working, I'm thinking it's not working, then it's not for me to say whether we should do it or
Right.
not. If they're saying it's making a difference, let's do it. So we did. We did it with 300 young people in a school. 25 of us zoomed in from all over the world. I mean, I was in Colombia and the borders were shut down. You know, they were from Bulgaria and, you know, the USA and China. And I was shocked at sorry, I moved here. I was shocked at how impactful it was and how much we could do over a Zoom call without one person stepping into the school.
Hope. Hope springs eternal. Hope stands for helping others progress every day. That's what hope is. This
Yeah.
is so fabulous. This is so, well, you're right. I'm I'm never at a loss for words, but I'm choked up right now. And I am just deeply moved and touched by what you said on 3 levels. One is that the kids liked it. So it didn't matter what you think. In other words, hello, I have to shift. Remember, shift. Get that F in the air. I have to shift my perspective because if it's working for them, that's all that matters. Bravo to the adults. Okay. Number 2, you said you have participants from all over the world. You were in Colombia. She means the country in Latin and South America at the time.
Mhm.
In other words, distance doesn't matter anymore. Is it, in my humble opinion, human contact is much better than non-human contact. And yet we saw that this process of Zoom, not so much teaching, but listening and interacting, and drama workshop is acting, that worked by Zoom.
Yeah.
Not so much the teaching, but in other words, the result was positive. And the third thing was that you mentioned there are people, not just people all over the world, but people volunteered.
Yeah.
And that's the genius of life. You're never too old to volunteer. Never think you don't have something to contribute. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Everybody has something to contribute. As Mrs. Levi said to me, just think of me as a giant ear. So I started listening and laughing. Yeah. And it makes a difference. Those break the ice and get people to talk about these issues that once someone knows, you mean I'm not the only person in the world who thinks da 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 or da da. Not the only person. Well, yeah, we all. I mean, that's how people think, especially in today's. It's too easy to say this. Social media, in my mind, a lot of it is anti-social media, and not meaning to be so. In other words, oh, look at all these beautiful people. Well, that's we're talking about just regular human beings. Where some of us are tall, short, wide, round, all different shapes and sizes, and the ability to understand that one doesn't have to be tall, handsome, rich, and not talking about men or women. It doesn't matter. It's who you are, what you aspire to, what your values are. One of the reasons I also love Jacqui is because the Bible is part and parcel of her very life. I'd like you to speak to that because I think that's a motivating force in your life. Is that not correct? The glory of God.
Yeah.
Let's talk about God. Too often people don't even mention God. Well, let's talk about it. We're not dyslexic here. It's God.
Mhm.
I'd like to hear from you how that motivates you.
For me, before my brother died, I knew that he existed and it just wasn't for me. I was happy with my life. I was happy. I was teaching. I was making a difference. It was, about grades. And I remember my mum saying to me one time, Jacqui, don't you think that, you're really successful, but don't you think that if you started praying to God, that your life would be even better? And I just thought to myself, well, why am I going to pray and ask somebody for something that I don't even know them? So why am I going to ask them for something? For me,
That was beautiful. I don't even know. God, who are you?
yeah, so like, however, with the suicide of my brother, and and then through his death, then that person died as well, and then I saw why I was here. And then part of that was starting to have a relationship with God. I remember praying and asking him, like, if you're there, like, please come to me. And and there were just so many things happening that didn't happen to me before. I started dreaming. I started seeing things that I didn't see before. And with the relationship that I had, with God, it was, I got myself a little Bible. Always had Bibles around, but they were there maybe for show, not for anything else. And I started reading, and it's a Sermon on the Mount that I connected with, in Matthew, where it talks about, blessed are they that mourn, and they should be comforted. And there was something and I didn't realize that was the presence of God. There's something that happened each time I read it. I would feel broken, then I'd read it, and then I'd start feeling pumped up. And then started reading maybe just once a month, once a week, and now every day, and I started reading in English and in Spanish and then French, and now I've got a Portuguese Bible.
Wait a minute. First of all, I know she's showing off, but I love her anyway. I got to tell her. So she not only can read English, okay, a lot of people can do that, and she reads it in French, and she reads it in Portuguese, and she reads. I mean, hello, how many languages do you read or speak?
For me, it's the way the Lord is blessing me. That's the way he teaches me the languages. I read the Bible, I start reading the Bible, and then when I finish it, I can speak the language.
Now, I'm going to ask the question only because I think it's relevant here, and I'm prying into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, I mean, really deeply, that you are a better teacher and listener today because of your openness to God? Has it made a dramatic difference in your life as a channel?
Yes, because before, if I wanted something, I would struggle to get it. And if I didn't get it, I'd be very upset. So, let's say, for example, I really wanted a job and I didn't get it, I would take it personally. And now I'll apply for the job. If I don't get it, then it just means that that's not God's plan for me at that moment. And so I'm just much more relaxed about it all, because my life belongs to him. And, I'm working for him, and it's him working through me to save the lives. I'm not doing anything. I'm just privileged that he's chosen me to do this.
So, as you know, we work with acronyms because they're important. They're ways for people to remember things. So there's an interesting word called a cog, C-O-G. So people think a cog in a machine, one small cog in a giant machine. What am I? Well, without that cog, that machine doesn't work. And cog stands for channel of goodness, child of God. When you recognize that you are a channel of goodness and you're a child of God, and you're right, you've achieved nothing, but at the same time, you achieved everything, which is part of a plan. And the ability to enable younger people, like we're talking about 12 to 18 or so, or even a little bit older, and parents too, this ability to recognize that in itself reduces the stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Manages the stress, and enables a process of relationship. If you get a relationship with God, you can have a relationship with someone else. You can even have a relationship with yourself. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And once you have a relationship with yourself, and it's a positive self relationship, then you can grow. You could become a sequoia. You could be a sunflower. You could be a wheat. Doesn't. I mean, this is genius. What you're saying. This all happened because your mother said, "Jacqui, why don't you have something to do with God?"
Yeah.
And you listen to your mother.
Yeah. Well, maybe not straight away, but some years
Right.
afterwards,
Okay. It
yeah.
doesn't matter. It's a process, not an event. I think part of what we're discussing today, we're talking about youth mental health, the ability to stimulate strategies for what we call younger people. We're all young people. It doesn't matter the age. It works for everybody, but certainly for people 12 to 18 who are really in the most stressful situations in life, generally speaking, because they don't have tools. When you give people tools and strategies, you potentially enable them to eliminate the possibility of suicide, because life is a struggle. With God, it's still a struggle, but it's part of a plan.
Yeah.
And therefore, the struggle. So again, I'll be very personal. I was a quadriplegic. One of the greatest events that happened to me, I'll make it very short, but just tell you, because you might want to share this to some people someday. It happened to me, I think it was the third week I was in the hospital. They were always picking me up, putting me on a gurney, moving me, doing tests and such. And they had one particular nurse, male nurse, who had been with me 3 or 4 days. And he stopped in the hallway, he leaned down, he asked me, he said, "Mr. Shaw, can I ask you a personal question?" No, I could barely speak. I said, "Yes." Okay. He said, "This is what I do. I work with people who are paralyzed. I've never met anybody who's not angry and bitter. How come you're not angry and bitter?" Because I wasn't. And I realized he was asking me the great existential question, which is, why, God? Why did you do this to me? Right? But that's not what I was asking. I was already, thank God, had a relationship with God, but I was asking, why me? I'm just a regular guy. What am I supposed to do? I'm just here as a bunch of protoplasm. I can't move. I might not ever walk again, move again, anything. And yet, Jacqui, at that moment, the greatest calm in my life, up to 55 years on the planet, no matter what was going to happen, part of the plan. Calm.
Wow.
And I think that's what you're able to impart to younger people with the drama workshops, with the strategies, with your love, with your teaching, so that the sad part, the stress, the anxiety, the depression doesn't necessarily lead to where they're going. That it can be not just arrested, but shaped and formed and used to advantage and now to grow. Right? That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're doing that with this amazing foundation, which is touching people all over the world. Again, you go into my website, barryshaw.com, and you're going to see what Jacqui is about and what she's doing. And you will be touched, because this makes a difference. She's the mad woman, as we said. She does mood mentoring. She does the mood map, the Center for Emotional Intelligence, which every human being on the planet wants and needs. Emotional intelligence, yes. To be able to get a good grade on a test, that's very nice. But what's your emotional intelligence? Can you do, if you're a chess prodigy, can you do anything other than play chess? Can you actually talk to anybody? Your relationship with a human being? The same thing with everybody. So let's just go deep. We only have a few more minutes. What would you say, because I'm going to ask you, can you give us the 2 most successful, powerful strategies that you have come across, that you use, that you encourage people, especially kids, to use? The 2 most powerful.
For the children rather than the parents. So for the children or for the young people, it's important that they check in with themselves. So using the mood map, after a while, they can actually just stop and think, where am I in the mood map? Is my mood high? Or is it low mood, or is it a good mood? Is my energy high or is it low? Because once they check in and they see that maybe the way they're behaving is because they are stressed or anxious, then they can then stop, check in with themselves, and then do 1 or 2 or even 3 things to bring themselves down. So one good thing is taking a deep, 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 deep breath and holding it for as long as possible. And then, letting the air out slowly, because that's a way to shock the system and bring it back to calm. Also, they can, talking and listening to, find somebody that they can speak with and let them speak and let that other person listen. Or it can be, going out and going for a walk and talking at the same time. But the most important thing is that they need to check in with themselves, because some young people, they might not know what their mood is. They have breakfast, they go to school, and they haven't checked in, and they don't realize that they're high energy, low mood. And because they haven't checked in, they haven't done anything about it to bring it down. And it's really important to do that minimum 4 times a day. This is how we show them to do it. When you wake up, in the afternoon, late afternoon, in the evening, and we encourage them to make a little journal as well, because there's nothing wrong, as you said before, to be stressed or anxious or depressed. The most important thing is knowing where you are. You might want to stay there. Sometimes I might be feeling a bit sad and I just want to stay there, just for the evening. I might want to feel sorry for myself.
Right, but that's a choice.
Yeah.
And again, remember the 6 most important words you could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. So our time at this particular juncture is coming to a close. I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. Wonderful, Jacqui. You're fabulous. I love you. By the way, TALK is a wonderful acronym. It stands for Teaching, Always, Love, and Kindness. Wow. Teaching, always, love, and kindness. That's what TALK stands for. So 3 quick questions. Number 1, will you come back again?
Yes, please.
Number 2, you have 80 seconds only to answer this question. 80 seconds only. Jacqui Campbell, what is your most fervent desire?
My fervent desire, or it's a statement, I want to stamp out teen suicide. I want us to live in a world where it isn't an option. It isn't a choice. It isn't even in the conversation. It's not an option.
Yes, I love you. And the third is, may I give you a hug in front of 362,820 people around the world? Okay, but let me tell you what HUG stands for. HUG stands for Harmonizing Unlimited Giving.
Wow.
Harmonizing Unlimited Giving. Are you ready? To count to 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, she's thank you, Thee, to harmonize and network kindness. You've been listening to and loving the Joy of Living podcast with your humble host, Barry Shore, and our amazing guest, Jacqui Campbell, who literally just made it so that suicide, especially teen suicide, not an option. That's what she just did. And this show is all about you becoming the best you. When you're the best you make the world a better place. You spread more, bring more harmony to the world, build more bridges, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. And the result for you is that you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? When you use the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life has purpose. When you lead a purpose-driven life, you go mad. Mad is a great acronym. You become like Jacqui. You make a difference in the world. And third is to uncover and unlock a power in the sequence of everyday words and terms, like smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Remember, shift happens. You got to pronounce the F and shift, or the other stuff happens. Use the 6 most important words in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Use 4-letter words like love, life, hope, free, grow, play, pray, swim, mind. You can do it, yes. And use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, every day from now and the rest of your life. Thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness, to harmonize and network kindness, and teach the world to F you. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Did you hear that? I listened to Barry Shaw. He wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. That will enable you to create a conversation. You say, what are you talking about? Well, I heard Barry talking to Jacqui Campbell. We're eliminating teen suicide. It's not even an option. How do you do that? Well, listen to the podcast and share with 5 people. Get the mood map, and you will become mad also. You make a difference. So our blessing from Jacqui and Barry is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Jacqui, don't go away, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.